Our education system in this country does a really poor job of educating kids about investment opportunities. Everything steers them towards institutional investments. You have to invest in the stock market. That's the only place you can invest. You need to put your money in a 401k, manage money, and that's where it needs to go. Yeah. Don't invest in anything else. All that other stuff, that real estate.
Too high risk.
It's risky. Yeah. That's risky. I'm like, are you kidding me?
I know.
To me, the stock market feels a little like gambling.
Yeah. We agree. We dabble and then pull our money.
Yeah.
We dabble and then we pull, and we it is more of like a hobby.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
And we're so confident in the real estate being a slow and steady, you know, and we know it so well that it's comfortable and we know that it's totally tangible. It's hard. You can point to it. You can drive it. Where the stock market, you're always looking, oh, did it go up or go down? Oh, shoot, it's down today.
Welcome to the CashFlow Quest. Today we have a really good friend, personal friend, but also professional friend, Marcus Carter. He's the owner of Mesa Fund Control. And he's got a really interesting story about how he kind of acquired that and got into that business. And he's having a good time growing that business and moving in the direction of kind of scaling that. And then also has a loan business called GNT Financial. So he'll kind of lay out how the lay of the land is for his business world. And so welcome, Marcus.
Yeah, welcome. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me, guys. Really appreciate it. So looking forward to this.
We'll have lots of fun talking about financing and construction. And hey, it's really the guts of any deal, right? These are the fun details that we get to talk about that get deals done.
Exactly right. There's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes that nobody knows about that it's the nitty gritty. That's important stuff though.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So how about we start with, how'd you get started? And, you said we were talking off camera a little bit about you starting this financial company, GNT Financial in 99, but tell us a little bit about how you got started and
it's
how
great.
all that went.
Great question.
Yeah.
If he'd asked me 30 years ago where I'd be today, I would never have guessed that I'd be doing what I'm doing now. But
usually that's how it is though, right?
So true.
Like you start down a path and there's left and right turns.
Yeah. So I'll date myself a little bit. I graduated from USD here in San Diego in 94. And I was a football player. And for 4 years, that's all I really thought about. I just wanted to play football in college. And all of a sudden 4 years has passed. And I'm like, okay, now what do I do? I need to make money.
Life hits you in the face and you're like, shoot, I got to do something.
Yeah. So, I had an opportunity. My sister was working in Orange County in the lending business. And the market was soft in 94. It was kind of, the job market was tough in San Diego and
stay alive till 95.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. Your dad was in construction. And so we lived through that and it was a tough market. So, so I didn't really know what I was going to do, but my sister said, hey, come to Orange County and try this lending business. And she said, you can probably make $5,000 or $6,000 a month. And to me, I was like, are you kidding me? Yeah, let's go. Where do I sign up? So, so I did. So I went to Orange County and worked for a lender for 4 years up there and had a really good time, learned a lot and thought I wanted this big lending company and came back down to San Diego and opened up a small little boutique lending company, GNT Financial. And that's really what we've been. We've been a small boutique private money lending operation ever since. And we do a couple transactions a month, but it's private money and it's funded with investors' capital. We have individual investors that go into individual trust deeds and typically all here in San Diego and just look for deals that really make sense. As I started that business and ran it, we were doing a decent amount of construction lending through the early 2000s and mostly residential, small ground up construction loans for single family. And there was a company in La Mesa Lumber company that's been around for 110 years.
Yeah.
I recognize
that.
They are absolutely still there. Yeah. So, and a deep family roots in La Mesa. And they had this fund control business. And so what they would do is they would hold the funds for our construction loans that GNT would write. And they would disperse those funds. They would manage that draw process. They would do the inspections and manage that draw process through the course of construction on these single family residences that I was funding. And they did a great job. They were small, kind of a boutique operation. And the manager there was Grace Wasson. And I had built a really good rapport with her. And in 2007, the market was changing again. And Grace called me and said, hey, Marcus, La Mesa Lumber is shutting down their fund control business. And I'm like, I'm scratching my head. Yeah. Going, this business has been around. You guys have had this piece of your business for like 38 years, 40 years, and you're shutting it down. Yeah. And I thought, wow. So I looked at this business from a lending standpoint, realizing that, this is an absolute needed service business from a lending standpoint. Whether you're constructing, single family residences or ADUs or major multifamily construction projects or industrial projects, you need fund control. And if you're a lender, you either need to do it yourself internally or you need to outsource it with a really good third party.
Because you need somebody to manage those details in a big project like that. The contractors are hired to do the drywall, the framing, all of these pieces, but you need a third party set of eyes to verify that the job's done to a certain percentage or complete, and that's a lot of times, like we were saying, they'll request these funds premature, and then all of a sudden you're in this hot water situation where you've paid them, the guys, they leave, they go to their next job. And you've got issues that you have to work through.
Contractors do that?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, right?
Run the best books and they're so organized all the time.
Oh my gosh.
For educational purposes, this is a very niche thing in that if you've never done a construction project, let's go through like a 1 to 2 minute breakdown. So you want to flip a home or add maybe an ADU and flip a home. Sure. What is that process? Give us like the 1 through 5 steps on what do you guys do?
So in 07, I approached Grace and I said, Grace, we need to start a fund control business. And so we did. In 07, we started La Mesa Fund Control and Escrow, and we've been growing it ever since.
Awesome.
And so she came over and we started the business. But to answer that question, Blake, so what the business really does is manage that draw process. They manage the disbursements of those funds for each draw as that project gets constructed.
Lay out a hypothetical.
Yeah. So let's just talk about that. So lender completes a loan, funds a loan, isn't going to disperse all the money to the owner, and they're not going to disperse all the money to the contractor. They're going to hold it back.
Right.
So the contractor starts the work. 30 days later, he says, hey, I need to get paid for the grading and the foundation that I just put in. And so he's requesting money from that line item cost breakdown. So he submits a request to La Mesa. La Mesa goes out there and does an inspection on that site and to make sure that work that he's requesting the money for has been completed. So he's requesting money for the foundation, for the grading at certain percentages, maybe 75% of the grading, and he's requesting for 50% of the foundation work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to go out there and make sure that 75% of the grading is done and 50% of the foundation is complete. And we're going to provide an inspection report as well as a recommendation back to that lender to say, hey, yes, this has been complete. Or no, it hasn't.
Yep.
And more importantly, no, he hasn't even started the foundation, or he's only done 20% of it. It's only staked and it looks like it's ready to go there, but there's no rebar in it.
Yeah.
And he's still got to put the rebar in and all the underground plumbing and so on and so forth. So he's only at about 20 to 25% of this, and he's requesting 75. So we recommend you cut that back.
Yep.
And so that process goes through the entire construction project.
Based off the construction contract.
Sure. So there's a line item cost breakdown that we're privy to, that we have, that we're managing and that we're watching. And that contractor is requesting money from that line item cost breakdown on an ongoing basis.
What's your average size deal, just to paint the right picture?
About $1.5 million to $1.7 million.
Okay. So it's a meaningful amount of money.
Sure.
And you're trying to make sure you don't pay the contractors too much where they can abuse the situation and or potentially run off with money.
The goal is to make sure that a contractor is never paid for work or materials that hasn't been completed.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, really, you want to pay him for what he's done and what he's completed, but not anymore.
Yep.
And that's really your guardrails that you want to have up so that he doesn't walk and he's doing what he's supposed to do.
And for the listeners, like, this is a big, thing in the construction realm. Like, it happens a lot. If you don't manage these contractors or other trade workers,
Yeah.
sometimes they'll take advantage of situations where they will request more money than the work that they have completed. And it gets people into a hot water situation sometimes. And it just isn't fun for anybody then. Yeah. So it's a very, this fund control piece is very important and pretty specific to, you know, this project, and make sure that things are done complete and correctly and on a schedule and on time. It keeps that like on time schedule piece in line too. Yeah. And then funded properly. So
and it's a nice third party accountability partner for the builder.
For sure.
Because like we kind of do our own fund control on smaller projects. Sure. And it's still challenging.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
And we've had this year, we had a guy contract and run off with a couple $1,000 where he's like, dude, you didn't finish.
Yeah.
And he's in the wind.
Yeah. Gone.
And it was like, get to the latter half of the project. And then that's when things get squirrely. Yeah. And these contractors are good at building.
There.
You know, they have a trade and they have a skill. They're good at building, physically working in the world. Yeah. When you get into the paperwork element, I just feel like contractors, not all of them, but generally speaking, if they don't have somebody in their office and they're not at scale enough to have those people in the office to maintain that professional admin level, that's where there's room for error.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And it's really important. So, and there's tells, you know, through when you manage a lot of projects, you really look for signs and you look for things that are potential red flags. One of the things that we do on the front end and a service that we provide and a report that we provide is a pre-construction review for lenders. So so let's say you had a construction project and it's a couple $1 million.
Yeah.
And your contractor gives you a bid. So we actually have a report. You give us the plans and the permits and his scope of work and his budget. We'll actually go through that, analyze it for you, give you a report back to tell you whether or not it's sufficient or it's not sufficient. And we go through all the line items and tell you whether or not there's enough in this budget to actually make your project work.
Oh, that's helpful.
It's a pre-construction review. We recommend it to all of our lenders on every single project that they fund, or developers and projects that they're looking at, just to give them a third party view of what that would look like.
And then what's cool is then you can kind of create that engagement, meet these lenders, different bankers. Like
for sure.
You can start to connect early and show them, hey, we're going to do this all the way through white glove.
Yep.
You won't have to worry about paying too much on the loan.
That's exactly right.
Holding the bag on a half complete project.
Exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah.
So it's a good leader.
Yeah.
Half complete projects are what you try to avoid. So, for sure.
No good for anybody.
No,
for sure.
Oh,
so I want to just recap that one more time. So La Mesa Fund Control and Escrow is the name of your company.
Yes.
And so like you were just saying, you offer a pre-construction checklist, and then that gets kind of run us through kind of like the services you do offer and kind of how that would look.
Yeah. So Jennifer, there's 3 major services that La Mesa Fund Control and Escrow provides. Pre-construction reviews. Mm-hmm. So that's really an underwriting tool for lenders. You know, prior to funding the loan, they're gonna analyze that project, that budget, to see if it's sufficient to build whatever they're planning on funding that construction loan for.
Right.
So that's the first thing that we do.
Okay.
Second thing that we do are inspections. So we do nationwide inspections, draw inspections, site inspections for all different shapes and sizes of construction projects, ADUs to ground up residential projects, to commercial projects, multifamily, industrial, you name it. So we'll go out there and do the site inspections at each draw request.
Okay.
And then we manage fund control. We manage the draw process and the disbursements. So we are a licensed and bonded escrow company with the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation, DFPI.
Okay.
And so we actually have a trust account, and we can hold the money and disperse the money on behalf and manage that draw process for those construction lenders or for those developers.
Which you do. You have got inspection teams and a process for going on site, boots on the ground to verify that those, levels of construction been completed. And then you go to the next step.
That's right.
More work gets done. Another draw request comes in.
That's right.
All the way to the end, till 100%.
That's right.
Then once the job's 100% complete and the money has been dispersed, that's it for you. You guys are done.
Our services are done.
Right.
And we're collecting the last bits of paperwork on it, and the last draw is complete and we're completed. So so it's really PCRs, pre-construction reviews, inspections, and fund control services.
Okay.
Those are really the three main things that we actually do. So kind of a back office support for lenders and developers.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's very specialized, and it's hard to have that. Even if they're scaled developers, not everyone has that admin team that's specialized in the lien releases and the disbursement of funds. And then, so how big is your team for that?
So we have about 17 employees, 3 owners that are actively involved in the business. We outsource our boots on the ground guys. These are nationwide network of guys that we actually contract with. They actually go physically visit the sites and actually take the photos and analyze it. That information comes back to us. We build an inspection report, and we turn those in 2 or 3 days. I mean, so it's a pretty quick process.
Yeah. Now, do you guys do the loan piece at all?
No. So really, that La Mesa Fund Control and Escrow is a standalone business, totally separate business from my small little lending platform, if you will. So it's much bigger. We manage, to give you some size and some scope, we manage about 2,500 projects nationwide. Okay. Probably close to $9.5 billion worth of construction projects nationwide. So it's a totally different animal.
That's a machine of its own.
It is. Yeah. It is. We've got a great staff, great people working for us, and just a great team. Good service.
Okay. So is there any interest in getting on the lending side? I mean, with the GNT Financial piece?
No, not at all.
No.
They're really separate. I mean, GNT closes 1 or 2 transactions a month, and they're small in comparison to what we're doing on La Mesa. So
how much do you say you have that you're managing right now?
So
for La Mesa Fund Control.
So it's about $9 to $9.5 billion worth of construction
going on right now. That's pretty cool.
Going on, right? Right? I know. Yeah.
So what's the fee? How's that work?
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, we're charging. We just charge a draw fee. So we build a project and we estimate. I'll give you an example. Let's say it's $1.5 million single family residence. Use that as an example. They're probably going to need 12 draws, 12 inspections. It's going to take them about a year to build. So we'll charge them somewhere between, $500 and $600 per draw, essentially is kind of how we build it out. And that includes the fund control aspects of it and all the inspections. So it's pretty inexpensive, really. I mean, it's a very economical and inexpensive piece of very specialized service that you need to actually.
Yeah. So it's not tied to the total cost of the project, really. It's tied to the amount of draws and the actual effort to get the inspections.
More or less a flat fee per execution.
Correct. Yep. Yeah. Keeps it simple.
Yeah. We love simple.
Keeps it super simple.
And I think that's the best way to be able to grow is keep everything simple.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And everybody, it's easy for people to understand and grasp and execute and the whole thing. Yeah.
The thing about it is it creates a tremendous amount of transparency for lenders and developers, because you see exactly what the budget is, exactly where all the dollars are going, or what line items are being pulled from, who's getting paid, the subs that are getting paid, the material suppliers that are getting paid. So it just provides that level of transparency that everybody needs to understand where the dollars are going. So,
and I like that it's a third party function.
Yeah,
it really is nice. Like, I love brokers for the role alone as to create an intermediary in between the two parties.
Yeah,
because now you get to be a third party and you get to say, hey, sorry, guy, you're not there.
Yeah.
And so we see that you're like 30%, but you're not 50%.
Yeah.
And then they go, well, what the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're the bad guy in a lot of cases.
So you get to be the bad guy, and then it's not become an argument between the developer and the contractor.
Well, the lender. The lender's really trying to maintain that relationship with the owner and doesn't want to be the bad guy. Yep. So we're the guys actually doing the inspection, managing that draw process, making that recommendation to cut the drawback, and that contractor may not be happy about that. And so
they're not typically.
No, and so then they may complain to the owner, and then the owner complains to the lender, and the lender goes, "Well, it's a third party fund control. They're just calling it like they see it." So we're the bad guy. So it is.
No, but it's a good clutch mechanism.
It
is.
It is.
Everyone needs to be held accountable.
Yes.
And it's an all around great service.
Yeah.
Okay. So you want to scale this.
We are. We're definitely scaling it. We want to be really the industry leader when it comes to risk mitigation services. And that's really what we are. We're a risk management company that provides services in the risk mitigation and the construction risk mitigation space. So that's where we're going with it. So growing our platform, growing our brand, growing our name.
Okay.
And really,
what's the ideal situation? You're in all 50 states across the United States?
I mean, we have the capacity right now to be in all 50 states right now. I mean, we have great coverage from an inspection standpoint. Our disbursements are done really right here in San Diego. So it's everything is managed here. We have a technology platform that we're rolling out in January that's super robust, that is really going to allow us to scale the business. So we've been building our proprietary software for the last year and a half. So
wow, that's exciting.
That's a heavy lift, let me tell you.
So that's a lot. Who's going to interface with that? The lenders, the contractors, and the owners. Okay, so it's it's full optics on the process.
100%.
Okay,
100%. Yeah, it'll be online draw process online. You log in. Contractor will submit his draw request online, upload all of his documents. Lender gets notified. Inspections get ordered. Everything's provided based on an online platform. So.
Oh, that's incredible. Then everything's in one spot.
Yep.
It's centralized for everybody involved, including your team. It's making sure all of the pieces of information are collected in an organized manner. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
I love stuff like that.
it'll provide a lot of efficiencies and a lot of scalability for us too. So we're really excited about it. So,
and you decided to build that all on your own.
We did. Jennifer, it's such fund control and inspections and dispersing and with the escrow piece.
Yeah.
There's nothing off the shelf that you can just go buy.
I doubt there's somebody that provides a particular software for that.
Blake, there's pieces of it, but there's nothing that encompasses all aspects of it. So being an escrow company, our trust accounting has to be to the T. I mean, to the penny. Yeah. We're managing these multi-million dollar projects, and we have to manage them to the penny.
Yeah.
And we have to provide audited financials to the state of California every year. And it's a big deal. I mean, we spend $36,000 just on our audited financials every year to get that done. So it's a really important piece. Tracking the money, dispersing the funds
when you're wiring funds all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. We move a lot of money.
Yeah, which is a tricky, it's kind of a sketchy deal today.
Yes.
So you really have to lock down security on wires. Wires lately have been kind of scaring me.
Oh, it's...
well, the cybersecurity and all the computer tech stuff just keeps advancing. And so it really is kind of a scary thing.
Well, we're learning that how hackers do it is they just slip in, slip out and change numbers and divert the money. And you would never even feel it, see it, smell it. So you really...
Super sophisticated.
Yeah.
These guys work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, figuring out how to hack emails and how to get into your system, how to get into your process. They will learn how you interface with your investors, how you interface, whether it's over the phone, whether it's through email, whether it's through however you do it. They will learn how you do that and try to break into that communication chain.
Gosh.
It's scary. It's really scary.
So we're booting up our whole cybersecurity and insurance in 2025.
Yep.
Because it takes you a while just to get the systems that allow you to have that.
Yes.
Yes.
And that was a learning curve for us too, where it was just okay, wait, we have to have this hardware and this setup and a network that we can all kind of tie into in order to even be insurable.
Yes.
So that was okay.
We've been learning all that.
Yeah. No. It's a whole nother, you have to have a guy doing it for you. Somebody doing it for you. I mean, because it's a whole nother business.
It is a whole nother business and skill set, really. Yeah.
It is.
So launching that in 2025, it's taken you about a year and a half, you said, to kind of put it together with a tech team.
Yeah, a year and a half build and a lot of iterations of it and a lot of time and effort and money that you spend in developing this stuff. And then it's on an ongoing basis. You have to continue to do it, continue to improve it, continue to maintain it.
Sure.
So it's
would you ever consider selling that to other fund control people?
Yeah. So a SaaS company really is what that is.
Okay.
Software as a service. So we've talked about that. We didn't build it for that.
Uh-huh.
But in when you kind of get to the final stages of this thing where you're ready to launch it, you're like, wow, we really kind of do have something here. So, I don't know.
Time will tell.
Time will tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Time will tell. We'll see.
Yeah.
So,
and you guys, I'm sure there'll be nuances that you continue to improve in the software.
Sure. And we have enough on our plate right now.
Yeah.
So it's like,
we keep it simple right now.
So I love big goals. What do you want to take it to?
Oh,
you're at 9 billion under construction right now.
Yeah. It's a great question, Blake. I think, really being I have a personal goal of really educating as many people, companies, individuals about best practices when it comes to dispersing funds for construction. And we're launching a consumer piece to this. We've really never gone direct to consumer. Mm-hmm. We're actually launching that. We're actually going to go direct to consumers because I think there's a real need in the consumer space for education and understanding that fund control is an option for consumers. And I'll give you an example of that happened in our backyard. I was at a meeting last week with a banker, had a team here in San Diego, and we're having this dinner. And he lives in Carmel Valley. And he was telling me the story about how he built a pool in his backyard about 2 years ago. The contractor did a great job. And he referred him to several people in Carmel Valley. And he spent about $120,000 and everything went great, got a great pool. Well, this same contractor got referred to a bunch of people in Carmel Valley. This just happened not too long ago. Took their first deposit, dug the pools in the backyard, took the second payment, and then left, disappeared. I guess there's 5 or 6 people that were involved in this.
So he maybe did that a handful of times.
He did it to 4 or 5 people, all kind of at the same time, and walked with the money. Had their pools dug in the backyard, probably took $50,000 to $60,000 from them up front. Yeah. And is gone.
And that hole wasn't $50,000 or $60,000 to dig.
No, he spent maybe $10,000 or $12,000. And he's got 50 or 60 in his pocket.
He ran a tractor in there.
You got it. That's exactly what he did. He ran a tractor in there, made it look like a lot of work.
Yeah.
And these homeowners are stuck and they're out the money.
That's what
fund control would have
so
prevented that.
Yeah.
It would have absolutely prevented that because we would have said, no way are you going to disperse $50,000 or $60,000 or 40% of this construction build when he's just got a hole dug in your backyard.
Yeah. Well, and I think to your point too, the average consumer that puts a pool in or does a room addition on their house, and you're getting bids and you're trying to get the best cost you can.
Sure.
But if it's not your realm, it's a skill set and you really, there's a lot of details and a lot of pieces to what we're saying to do it correctly and not have a situation like that happen. And that is an unfortunate situation because I have a story too that I can kind of relate to this too, where we just did a big remodel project on our home.
Sure.
And all in all, it cost like about $400,000.
Sure.
This was a big project. And my husband is very detailed oriented and he created a name for himself because he was my fund control, in our fund control on this. Because
somebody's got to do it.
Somebody's got to do it. And he would walk the job every morning and every evening and make notes of details and like that piece a lot, it gets missed. And then if we chose to do it that way. But if in your case, if you hire like a fund control person to manage that job, well, now you have contracts and detailed and, line items of work.
That's right.
And so when they request the funds, like we've been saying, then you confirm that work's been done.
That's right.
And a lot of times it's not to the extent they're requesting for. Or another thing that will happen and the general consumer misses is they've done it a little bit different than they originally quoted.
Sure.
And it's like, well, that's not what you quoted. And that's not really what I want in the end, because the guys don't know and they're just doing it. And so you really have to manage what work's being done and the quality of work that's been completed because things change when they're working.
And the change order game of like,
oh,
hey, we bumped into this. And so what do you want to do? A or B? And you're like, B.
Yeah.
Oh, that's another 50 grand.
Right.
Wrong door. You chose the wrong door.
Yeah. And then if you do that, it causes these 3 other things to happen.
And you know that they didn't change the damn contract.
No.
And that, like, I did my landscape project where we did a big wall in the front, and it's like, the money just keeps going because you make a couple little decisions and it ends up being a lot more money.
Yeah.
They don't stop billing.
No.
They're like, okay,
No.
And then the contract, you go back to the OG contract that you originally got from
You're like, wait, I was only going to spend.
It's like, sorry. Yeah, I'll send you an updated contract.
Yeah.
Right.
Holy crap. Yeah.
I think what's cool about it too is it would hold contractors accountable on the front end, which...
Yes, to submit the change orders and be clear with the upfront costs.
The good ones will do really well.
They will. And so
because
they'll lean into it. They'll lean into it.
It'll award good behavior on like business ethics.
Yes.
Versus like the sloppy jalopy kind of execution.
Yeah,
and
you got it.
People getting no worries. Yeah, and people getting pissed off at like the bill that's coming at the 9th hour.
I won't drop any names, but 2 people on our team, and the team will get a kick out of this. Just did major full remodels on their houses.
You probably know one of the guys we're talking about.
And so we have kind of a fun yin and yang. Just in personalities alone, you have an execution difference. And so to your point, both parties would probably love it. The one that's more organized would love it even more, but the guy that's less organized should have it. Everyone should have it.
Yes.
Especially like, and I'm guilty. I like to just be handshake. I trust my guys, and I go down the road, but I blow every budget on a personal note, because I make all that'd be way cooler. We're dug up. I might as well add this in right now. Put a new main to my house.
I get it.
But like what you're talking about is creating a nice organized solution for a consumer to, let's say, a $200,000-$300,000 remodel.
Sure.
Which is very normal today, I'd say here.
Yes. Yeah.
And you create a nice flow. And you hold the contractors accountable on the behalf of the consumer, on the the person that's dispersing the money, even if it's not a lender.
That's right.
Maybe sometimes it is, but even if it's just cash out of pocket, or HELOC cash or whatever.
That's exactly right, Blake.
So God, I mean, it would have been handy.
Yes,
in both cases, and so it's just fun to think about.
Yeah,
and from that consumer point, like if you were going to make a recommendation, what's the minimum threshold that you would say for the average consumer in a project?
Good point.
To like, what's the minimum that you'd say, at this threshold, I would recommend fund control?
So I think it really, the question becomes, what's their experience? It's really more about what their comfort level is in dealing with a contractor and understanding what they're paying for and percentages of what should be due.
Right.
So if a consumer doesn't have any experience, I would say, it's 25 grand. I mean, hire us. We'll do three disbursements for you, and it costs you $1,500.
Yeah.
And it's money well spent, because that guy's not going to get 50% of the money unless 50% is complete. Mm-hmm. So it sort of depends on the consumer, in my opinion. With you having a husband that's very detailed, you may have not needed it. Mm-hmm. And you guys did just great on it. But most people aren't involved in the construction trade. Mm-hmm. Most people aren't comfortable with managing that type of a project or understanding percentages of how much that contractor should get paid. Mm-hmm. So having a second set of eyes look at this and giving them a recommendation gives them the support they need on these projects. Yeah. And it just helps.
Would you do a job of that size?
We absolutely do. We have them. We have projects that are $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. Okay. And we do a lot of the California. We work for Cal HAFA. We have a lot of the Cal HAFA ADU grants that went out for these ADUs. So we have a lot of projects that are smaller type projects. On up to $250 million. So I mean, projects of all different shapes and sizes.
It doesn't really matter to you.
It really doesn't. We love the large projects, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but the volume of draws on a contract.
And then
100%.
So the boot up is
longer. Yeah.
More efficient.
But you asked me what my goal was. Your original question was what my goal was. It's really to expand knowledge and understanding and transparency to the construction trades, not just for lenders and for professionals in the industry, but also for consumers. you asked 98 out of 100 people, maybe 99, they're not going to know what fund control is.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't know.
Yeah.
And so
it's really a funny thing.
It is.
But when you were saying you developed your software, I'm like, I just know because our industry is niche and software is not perfect, but there are a couple good solutions.
Right.
And then like some of the bigger multifamily shops have pivoted and now kind of work to tailor it.
Yep.
But I'm like, there's probably not a single thing that's decent.
Right.
Because it's kind of a weird niche.
It is.
But is it needed.
It is.
Yeah. So I like that. I like the business. It's a cool kind of out of the spotlight business, but it's a service for huge development and any forward movement on development and growth and building. Huge.
Well, and I think that if you can grow the awareness around that type of service with the general consumer and not just big developers or people who, because it's pretty standard when you get to that level, right?
It is.
But to your point, and as a goal of yours, you'd save a lot of people a lot of money and headache with that service. It would be, it would be important.
I like to serve. It's a service business. It's fun. It's fun to see completed projects. And so we get a lot of joy out of that. So
that's awesome.
So there's a little bit of a tangent, but being that you are involved with our space and you like our business as well.
Love it.
What would you recommend to us? Like we're learning and growing through bigger CapEx projects and we're doing, it's not probably $1 million every deal, but it's $500,000-ish on whether we go in and we fix electrical systems, we fix, we'll do the clubhouse or like big awning structures. We'll fix some apartments that come with these deals sometimes.
Yep.
So like, what would you recommend?
Yeah. From our standpoint, we work with a number of developers that don't have debt on their projects or disperse their funds, their own capital for their CapEx improvements or ground up construction. So, our services really provide that transparency, and somebody's got to do the work, Blake. Somebody's actually got to manage that draw process.
Right.
So,
and our accounting team currently does it, but it's kind of, I'd say, like we're making it a force function and we're kind of cramming it through accounting and it's, you could speak to this a little bit more clearly on exactly the flow of the workflow.
Right.
But it's like,
it's painful. It's painful.
Well,
it's not
it's not for sure. We get pictures and verify and we have our on-site teams walk, and in our contracts, we usually have like a 5 to 7 payment, upon completion of, and then it's lists, upon completion of these things, you get X money and then it goes to payment number 2 and keeps going down.
Right.
And so once we verify that specific work's been completed, then we'll release it. So it's kind of our internal fund control, if you will.
You bet. Yeah.
But to this conversation's point, to have a third party that's not our team, that might not necessarily look at it quite right. Or
when we're playing a game of telephone to our regional or just our on-site manager, to where we're contracting on the corporate office, this vendor that we like, have done work with most of the time. We've done several jobs with. Yeah. But there's always those first job moments depending on where we're at.
That's right.
And so then our team calls the manager and goes, "Hey, is it done?"
Right.
And they're like, yeah, I think so. There's more to it.
There's photos and stuff that we can
they're not trained to look at this. This is a different game,
like an
a different
inspector
trade.
You would send out. Yeah.
Versus a professional construction guy that's going to go out there and inspect per a lot lot of knowledge base this particular realm.
Yeah.
And so it's, you got my gears turning on. Like,
I know. I like this idea.
So you guys have created your own, really, I'll call it a successful fund control disbursement process internally, and it's working. What we do is we sort of standardize. So we've standardized it to make it sort of industry norms, industry best practices. So, and we try to do it the same way every single time. Not that we don't have customizations that we can do, but we really try to make it to where we have a line item cost breakdown, and not necessarily a draw schedule. We'll follow a draw schedule if you want us to, but we would highly recommend having a line item cost breakdown. That's your entire cost breakdown for your budget. And then that contractor is just going to draw from those line items as that work gets completed.
Yeah.
That way you have a true picture of a percentage complete on the individual line items and the overall percentage complete. So that's what we would recommend. So if you set up an account with us, we would say, okay, this is going to be built for 8 draws. It's a $750,000 budget, and here's all the line items he's going to draw from. So 30 days in, he makes his first draw request. He's going to request money from these 7 different line items because he's going through the work, and we're going to go out and inspect those line items to make sure that those individual things are completed to the percentage called for in his draw request.
Right.
And if he's not, we're going to cut him back, but we're going to give you guys a recommendation that's attached to that inspection report to say, hey, here's what our opinion of this is. Okay. So we've sort of standardized it, Blake, to kind of make it fit for industry norms, if you will. So,
okay. I'm over here thinking about if you, in a way, we'd sort of outsource some of the workload from our accounting team.
Sure.
To where it could be, they just interact with your team and get a fee per more of on a deal basis versus us having to carry somebody else in accounting. Like, I don't know.
That's
I'm just
right.
thinking out
loud.
Think
about Ty and I and Dasha, having to make sure and collect that information and essentially verify that the work's been complete.
At a minimum, they would help us standardize our process to link up for a handful of jobs. We love it, or we steal your standardization over the long haul. But
you might.
I just think it'd be a win-win.
Yeah. Here's what you would get from us. You're going to get an inspection report and a recommendation report. And then you're also going to get all the backup documentation that contractor has to submit. So we do all that front-loaded work for you. We collect all the lien waivers, all the invoices for all the subs and material suppliers. And then we even collect a W-9 because we're going to pay those guys. And so we do all the tax reporting at the end of the year as well.
That's a lot of running around.
It's a lot of work.
And it's very specific. And it's the type of stuff that if you're not doing it all the time, it bogs down our team.
Totally.
Yeah. And you miss stuff. You're like, I think we got that other lien waiver. I think we got that
release
other.
And those are paperwork. And they're important pieces of paperwork because if you don't have them and you get into a hot water situation, you really are kind of in a situation.
So we sort of take all that workload off of a developer or off of a lender's desk and provide that as a service for them. And then they can just do their job of going to find new projects to look at or managing their existing projects and take that construction component off.
Well, we should talk more.
That'll be fun.
Fun.
Cool.
Really cool.
So let's transition to, if you'd like to kind of chat through your mortgage business.
Yeah.
Seems like it's kind of a cool, more of like a lower level allocation of capital, investment strategy.
Yeah. Originally, really it started with me being, having a background in lending, having a background in finance, and, I've always been very entrepreneurial. My dad was self-employed. Both my grandfathers were self-employed. And so I grew up thinking, I don't want to work for somebody. I want to be self-employed. So, so here I am. The capital was really built out of not wanting to be constrained, and the private money was really not wanting to be constrained into institutional boxes. And I would see early in my career, I would see these deals that were good loans to write, good real estate loans to write, but my capital sources wouldn't do them for whatever reason because the box didn't allow it.
I understand.
And so I'd be like, I need to fund these things. So I ultimately, our capital providers now, or our investors, are quite frankly just a lot of friends and family.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of friends and family money.
Well, and what a good interest rate sounds like. So what's your average interest rate you're getting?
About 10.
Okay.
About 10. It's about
Great
10% yield.
Interest rate yield.
But it's taxable. It's
a loan product, so it's
it's interest, it's ordinary income, it's interest income. So unless they're investing with a self-directed IRA, and in that particular case, then it's tax deferred. So
it just spools up into that account.
Right. Exactly.
But see, that's cool, and it's really good collateral.
Yeah.
What's your average loan to value?
60, 65 max, typically. So, yeah,
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, the
then
equity.
Do you do a construction piece on top, or
it depends on what we're doing.
Okay.
Some of the loans that we write are bridge loans. Some of them are ground up construction. Sometimes they're renovation. If there's a renovation component to it, then we'll look at what that future value is. If there's a value add component to it, we will. We'll factor that into the calculations of our loan to value.
And then you'll still go to like a max LTV of
65, typically 65,
Wow.
maybe 70. But
So the people have serious skin in the game
100%.
in order
Yeah.
to be flipping.
They have to.
Okay.
Yeah. And right now we are, to be honest with you, we're not doing a lot of fix and flip loans
Okay.
because there's institutional capital providers out there. I'm just more conservative than most of the money out there right now. So
when your clientele, your investor base is more income focused.
yeah. And
versus transactional.
100%.
Like I just want a loan that pays me every month. I don't want to.
I want mailbox money. I want mailbox money. And I have to write, if I do a loan, I'm having dinner with them on Thanksgiving. So,
I want it to be good, and that mailbox money better be there every month. Yeah,
exactly.
Yes.
And so you were saying that typically they're loaning on like first trust deeds.
First trust deeds.
Okay.
Yeah. All first trust deeds.
Okay.
All
Single family homes for the most
generally
part.
residential properties, some commercial, but most of the time it's residential type property, 1 to 4.
Okay.
So.
And so are these people who aren't able to get like loans from a bank or like
Not Jennifer. My average client has a 700 plus credit score.
Okay.
I mean, so they're good quality borrowers. They're using private money because it's a tool. It's fast. It's easy. It's quick.
Okay.
It's not a 45-day approval process to get your loan done, and it's it's quick and easy. And
are they working to refi you out?
typically, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, typically they're short-term loans.
so they're short term.
Yeah, the
I was
loans
gonna
we're
say, what's
writing
the
are
term?
usually 12 to 18 months.
Okay.
And they're paying us off. And they're selling the property or refinancing into a long-term loan or
Because they did a room addition, now the value of the house has gone up. They can refi out on
it was 4 units and they
fix or-
renovated all 4 of the units and they
Sure.
got them done and they added an ADU to one of the garages and now they're converting to permanent financing.
Okay.
So yeah,
So-
they're just using us for sort of bridge construction, bridge renovation.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay. So that's kind of an interesting, like, how do you check those people out to where you know that they're a safe bet to make a loan to?
Yeah, I've been doing it so long that most of my clients are referral.
Okay.
A lot of repeat clients.
Yep.
I'm not out there, honestly, advertising
Selling
very much.
that. Sure.
I'm so busy with the Mesa Fund Control and escrow.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the new loans come in and it's a past client. So, and it's an existing investor that we put into it. So it's,
There's no background check or
kind
any
of
process that you need to do that.
yeah, we do. I mean, if it's a newer
Sure.
client, we'll check them out for sure.
Okay.
But-
And you check their income and their expense and their
Yes.
background and all
100%.
the things that a normal lender would do.
Running a credit
Yeah.
report, looking at their financials. Kicking the tires.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Are you looking to grow that business as well?
Yes, I am, Blake, but my time and energy is not there right now. I'm 100% focused on La Mesa Fund Control and escrow and really pushing that platform right now and really growing it. So
Cool.
that's where we're at. So
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right.
it's
Well,
fun.
let's transition to how we became connected.
Yeah.
So you like passive real estate investments as well.
Mailbox
and the
money.
tax
Yeah.
and the K1s and the
Yeah.
tax benefits
Yeah.
that go with owning the real estate asset and operating it.
Yep.
So how do you view the whole picture of finance from sounds like you want to generate a lot of income from this fund control business, Mesa Fund Control.
Correct. Yep.
That would be your bread and butter
Correct.
business that you earn
Yep.
your ordinary income and your fee income.
Correct.
And you're probably, is it like an S Corp?
It's an S Corp. Yep.
So then
3
you can
owners.
be
Yep.
on your
K1.
payroll.
Yep. I'm on payroll and I get a K1 at the end of the year. That's right.
So then from there, you'd like to allocate capital into different buckets.
Correct. Yeah.
So how do you view that?
Mhm.
And I mean, broad strokes,
Yeah.
you like to invest with us here and there with manufactured housing communities.
Correct.
But then any other slices, or how do you look at the whole picture?
Well, I certainly invest in trust deeds. I like to invest in trust deeds because it's my business. I understand real estate. I love first trust deeds and the yield's great. Downside is it's taxable. So you create more taxable income for yourself. But I love real estate as an investment. I just think that if you're investing on the debt side or you're investing on the ownership side, it's all real estate investing. It's just a matter of whether you're what side of the coin you're investing on. So,
a hard asset you can point to.
Yeah. And what
on the loan side, your cash on cash is 10%.
Right.
Yeah.
That's hard to do on the real estate investment front
It is.
for a yield, straight yield.
Straight yield.
But
Yeah.
okay, keep
It
going.
Well, but even if it's taxable, like he was saying, there's ways to offset it with other real estate investment. So
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's what investing with you guys has done the depreciation aspects of what we get investing with you offsets some of that interest income and some of the income you're earning on the other side of the coin. So it's such a great advantage to be able to invest with you guys and to be able to trust you guys and see your operation. And I understand from a real estate standpoint what you're doing, and I love it. I love the platform. So
cool.
I think it's really cool. Yeah. That's
cool.
really good.
Yeah, we really appreciate that.
Yeah.
So then that's it. Do you have like stock holdings? Do you have like, what do you know, what's your opinion on all that stuff?
So I'm not a stock guy. It's interesting. My son is a financial planner. He works for RBC Dane, works on a big team. They manage, it's actually a small team, but they manage about $400 million worth of high net worth clients, about 100 clients.
Okay.
And strictly stocks and bonds and traditional investments. I was telling Jennifer before we started this thing that I brought him to one of your last meetings, and he's 29, super smart kid, and but he's licensed up Series 7, Series 6, and the whole deal. But he loves this side of the business too. He's super interested in non-traditional investments, and so what you guys do just opened his eyes. He's like, oh my gosh, I love what they do.
Cool.
It opens up a whole new world to the potential with his clients and what they can be doing. So, but I'm sort of a non-traditional investment guy. I love real estate. I love notes. I love passive income. To me, the stock market feels a little like gambling.
I mean,
we agree.
I agree.
We like dabble and then pull our money. And we dabble and then we pull, and we it's more of like a hobby.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
Well, and we're so confident in the real estate being a slow and steady, you know, and we know it so well that it's comfortable, and we know that like it's gonna make you money.
It's
you
tangible.
know? It's totally tangible. It's hard. You can point to it. You can drive it. You can touch it, feel it.
Yeah.
Where the stock market, you're always looking, oh, did it go up or go down?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot, it's down today.
And I know some people that have done really well if they're on the insides of companies that really grow and they have like stock options and then they go public and IPO, but they're on the inside.
Yeah.
You know, like we've dabbled in some just fun venture capital stuff with friends that really what we like to do is expand our network. And so it's kind of like, all right, well, hey, we'll throw the minimum in and we'll play ball here.
Right.
But at the end of the day, we haven't had one hit.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're not rolled up yet, but like completely out of business, but like, we don't know what'll happen there. And then all of the people that I'd say I would personally like to model that are really wealthy now and have done huge successful businesses from the ground up where it was a slow game, 30, 40 years.
Right.
And, but now they're really living a great life.
That's right.
All those people were working in their business in real estate and just grew an organic business to a very sizable long-term play.
Yep.
And so those we're with you. I was just curious. I always like, some people come out of left field sometimes. I had my first podcast was in 2020 and it was called The Trailer Park Show. Yeah. And I just did our industry friends because we couldn't get together that year. I just figured what the heck, might as well throw it around the industry. Yeah. I just was really looking to get broker leads and like, have conversations.
Yeah. Sure.
But I had a $10 million question, which was at the end of it. It's like, okay, what would you do with $10 million? If you hit the lottery or you ended up with a capital event where you're like, I got $10 million clean, how would you allocate it?
I would buy apartments, or I would buy some hard asset that's producing cash flow and
get the tax advantage.
Sit on it, get the tax advantages and sit on the cash flow. Yeah. Mobile home parks, absolutely. I'd be looking at that.
I
mean, we'd be booking meetings with
right?
you.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what I would do with it. Yeah. I wouldn't be running to the stock market and put it in there. I just nope.
And with a chunk that size, that's a sizable amount to where when you did invest it, it would give you a good cash flow stream to live on. And then if you do choose to put it into something that appreciates, now you've got this snowball that's really starting to cash flow out the gate and continue to appreciate and grow. And like, that's why we love the real estate game too, is like, it's always appreciating and kind of growing. And so in addition to that, mailbox money, you're getting the back end equity position too.
Exactly
and,
right.
you know,
But what I love about that, and this is why I'm asking, because it's more like anything we could share with like younger people that are kind of viewing the world of finance for the first time. Like your son sounds like he's kicking butt. But it's, you know, a lot of even my broker friends or huge apartment brokers or people that are making a lot of earned income, you tend to get hooked on the lifestyle that comes with that big W-2 or the big bonuses.
Completely.
And you live a lifestyle that's based on that income.
Yes.
And it's really inefficient because you're paying a significant percentage to taxes.
That's right.
And now you're in the rat race.
That's right.
Even at a high level, you're stuck in this rat race until, in our opinion, and that's where I'm so blessed and so grateful for when dad was going through the transition in 2006, 7, and 8, I just happened to be coming out of school and it just clicked into gear for me that like, I want cash flow and that's my number one focus.
Yes. Yeah.
And dad would complain about the roller coaster ride of
he was
the
tired.
construction business.
Right.
You know, it was great when he had a job and not great when that job was coming to an end and there wasn't another job teed up.
That's
you know,
exactly
it's
right.
just like that.
The mechanics of that make it hard. I think that one of the things that's really, our education system in this country does a really poor job of educating kids and young people about investment opportunities. Everything steers them towards institutional investments. You have to invest in the stock market. That's the only place you can invest. Yeah. And you need to put your money in a 401k, managed money, and that's where it needs to go. And then you have all the players in that industry tout the same thing and beat the same drum and don't invest in anything else. All that other stuff, that real estate.
Too high risk.
Oh, it's risky.
Yeah.
That's risky. I'm like, are you kidding me?
I know.
So but that's what they hear. And that's what people don't understand. I mean, when I talk to people about investing in a self-directed IRA or rolling their money from a 401k that they had with this company that they worked at for 25 years and rolling it into a self-directed IRA, and then you could open up the doors into investing in alternative investments. They go, what?
Yeah.
What do you mean I can do that?
I know.
People just don't know.
No.
They have no idea what the options are. Once you get that money out of a managed institution that wants to control the heck out of it, what your options actually are and how much better you can do. But you have to have somebody you can trust. You have to have a group like Comfort that you can trust that you can do that with when it comes to alternative investments. So you guys provide a great service for that. So
thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. It's fun. And to your point, we do have clients that will say, oh man, I just love what you guys do, but I just really don't have the money to do it.
Sure.
And so then we'll sometimes ask, well, do you have like a 401k or an IRA? And a lot of times they do.
They go,
And so then it's like, we can connect them to a company that can help them move it over.
Sure.
And their eyes go, oh my gosh, let's do that.
And a lot of times they're getting killed on fees and they don't even know it.
And they don't even know.
It's just not easy to like be transparent on the fees and the whole thing.
No.
Get it to like a really low level baseline fee, a custodian account that can just easily invest.
That's exactly right.
Then we just start sending that account money that they're earning real interest in.
And the limitations when you start talking about 401k money, they've got about 8 funds they can invest in. Right. And it's like some international fund, it's a growth fund, it's all these BS funds. That it's
big
like
old pools.
So limited.
Well, and it's always like, how much risk do you want to take? Right. And each pool is like low risk, medium risk, high risk. Yeah. And it's like, what bucket does it fit in, depending on what the consumer says as the approach to the 401k. Yeah. And there's just, I don't know, there's a way bigger world out there that's not pushed, to your point, in the education system at all. They don't even talk about it. Yeah.
I had a good friend of mine who worked for Merck Pharmaceuticals for, I don't know, 18 years. And she had a 401k that was worth about $1.1 million. And she had retired from Merck, left Merck, and thought that she kind of had to just leave it there. And I'm like, well, no, you can roll it out of there and you can roll it into a self-directed IRA and you can invest in all these different things.
Whatever you want.
And she was like, what do you mean? I can do that? I'm like, yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You can do that. You can invest in gold or silver or you could buy real estate.
Right.
You can do all these things that the IRS will allow you to do. Mm-hmm. But so we need to do a better job with the education system in this country to educate kids about what the opportunities for investments are and how they can manage money. And that's just educating them on finance. I mean, it's just finance.
Right.
I feel like that's a silver lining of YouTube in the era that we're in now. Is it's so easy. And if you just kind of listen to somebody that, you kind of like from any angle, I think you can find that. And what's really interesting, what's your take on Bitcoin and gold?
Well, I wish I owned some Bitcoin. Now I'm scared to buy it because it's so expensive.
I know.
Right.
But I just don't understand it enough. I've never taken the time to really try to understand it. Quite frankly, I don't even know that I would understand it if I really dove into it. It just seems so foreign to me. But there's plenty of people doing it and investing in it and that have done pretty well. But
you mentioned gold and silver. I'm just curious.
Yeah. I'm not a gold and silver guy. If I'm going to diversify into something other than cash, it's going to be real estate. It's going to be real estate. So, not to knock gold or silver, but I just typically don't buy gold or silver.
Yeah.
Well, just because you mentioned it in several different ways, something that I learned recently with the IRA 401k stuff is there's a vault company called Blue Vault. One of our good friends on the airport, she runs that division for them. But it's interesting, right? So the same way you can invest in our deals with the custodian account on a 401k or an IRA, you can hold physical gold in their vault that's private.
Interesting.
With those funds.
Interesting.
And I feel like that's a cool alternative to holding cash
Yes.
for those funds. If you wanted to allocate 5 or 10% of the holdings. And they actually go into the vault and you can go touch it, feel it. And they open up the box and, but it's legal and you don't get hit on the penalties or anything. Sure. And I like that business too. It's an interesting business and it's a very niche business. These guys were looking at self-storage and mobile home parks. Yes. And they just couldn't make sense of the cap rates. What the heck? How do you make money? And they just wanted real yield. I'd say probably upwards of double digit, 10% plus. Yeah. So they figured out they could build these tilt-up vaults that are next level. You have to go check it out.
I'd love to see
this is just interesting to me. I'm just sharing with you something that I like. But it's another kind of cool real estate play.
It is.
In every vault, they have 900 units.
And the vault isn't that big. It's probably the size of this room, which is 30 by...
Maybe a touch bigger.
Yeah. Where do they build them?
In a retail center.
Yeah. In a retail.
They lease a unit. They long-term would like to buy a building. Sure. That's maybe a funky, an old bank that's...
It's already got a vault. Yeah.
Ton of them too. Yeah. Well, the vault basically takes up the whole thing.
Okay.
But then you have a little retail center and they sell gold and silver, just like the normal vanilla gold, silver bars and coins. And that is leaders or a marketing ploy to get people into the rental space.
To store it. So really their business is storage.
And space rent for a vault.
Yeah. And so the guys have become friends of mine and I just am like, gosh, this is so cool to get 900 units in a retail center.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And you're paying by the square inch.
Interesting.
And so we rented them. So Dad and I and Jen were low key gold bugs.
Sure.
In that if we're instead of holding a bunch of cash, let's call it our reserves, functional reserves.
Sure.
We'd like to put it out of the banks of the corporate side because we have a lot of hands in the cookie jar now with accounting people.
The
and it's just
mechanism.
A nice peace of mind to go, yep, we have that over here in a vault. Also, note, you cannot insure gold and silver in your own vault, in your own safe.
In your own home.
The concept of a business where you have space, but you have something really valuable that's almost uninsurable. Where do you put it? So anyways, it's a fun niche business that we're looking into.
I love it.
We wish you the best. We'll be having fun, rooting for you and praying for your success and growing from 9 billion to 100 billion
and counting.
Transactions. And
Well, and thanks for what you guys do. We really appreciate it. I know Holly and I have really appreciated working with you guys and investing with you guys. And we want to continue to do that. So
awesome.
Love it.
We look forward to working with you guys in the future too. So thanks for being here and everything today.
Cool.
All right. Cheers. Bye, guys.
Thanks a lot. See you next time.